They told me I had 24 hours to pack my gear and vanish from the lake my grandfather left me, or they'd make me leave. Cordelia Hartwell, HOA president, manicure gleaming like she'd just signed a Hollywood contract, waved a thick folder of legal evidence in my face like it was the Ten Commandments. What she didn't know, in a worn leather bag by my feet, was the kind of proof that not only kept me here, but would make over 200 of my neighbors ask my permission every time they wanted to go home. It was a Saturday morning that smelled like coffee and pine needles. The lake was glass still, sunlight scattered like coins across the surface, and for a second I could almost hear my grandpa's voice. Patience, Ezra. Best things in life, they take time. Then came the sound of tires on gravel, and the piece shattered like a dropped plate. Cordelia didn't just show up. She arrived, flanked by 6 HOA board members, a title company rep in a suit worth more than my truck, and a camera crew. Yes, she wanted an audience. Mr. Blackwood, she announced, pointing like I'd stolen something, you've been illegally occupying community property for months. You've ignored notices, and frankly, we're done with your disrespect for our community standards. Community standards. The way she said it, you'd think I was running a moonshine still in a fight club out here instead of fishing on weekends. Behind her, Karen from 2 streets over gave me the same look she'd used when she complained about my farm smells last month. Sheriff Thompson rolled up just in time for Cordelia's victory lap. But instead of hauling me off, he leaned on his cruiser, arms crossed, and reminded everyone this was a civil matter. Translation: not my circus, not my monkeys take it to court. That's when the title rep Peterson stepped forward with a neat stack of papers, reading off clauses like he was narrating a bedtime story for lawyers. But he kept glancing at Cordelia's evidence like it smelled off. Me? I just stood there quiet. Grandpa used to say, the loudest person in the room usually has the weakest case. And besides, I could feel the weight of that leather bag against my leg. I told her I'd be happy to look at her proof right after she looked at mine. For a split second, her smile slipped. I opened the bag just enough for her to see the corner of a document older than the HOA's existence, older than the state itself. And that's when Barney Copperfield stepped into view from his porch across the road. Grandpa's best friend, former court clerk, 40 years of knowing exactly which law book to pull off the shelf. He gave me a slow nod. This was going to get good. See, that bag held the original 1892 federal homestead grant, not just for the lake, for the entire section, the subdivisions, the water rights, all of it. And here's the kicker, the massive neighborhood parking lot they were standing in, squarely on my land. No recorded easement, which meant if I wanted I could put up a private property, no trespassing sign today, and half the neighborhood couldn't drive home. When Maria Santos, the document examiner, arrived the next day, she didn't even get through Cordelia's key paperwork before her eyebrows shot up. Wrong watermarks. Wrong ink composition. Documents that supposedly came from 1953 but were printed on paper invented in 1987. Then Tom Bradley, the county surveyor Cordelia had hired, admitted she'd misrepresented his findings. The original boundaries matched my claim, not hers. Cordelia's empire cracked in real time, and the sheriff made it official with an arrest warrant for document fraud. But that's when the air shifted. In front of the cameras, Cordelia broke. She wasn't just the HOA villain anymore. She was a wife drowning in $400,000 of medical debt, a foreclosure notice on her kitchen counter, a husband with terminal cancer. And suddenly, this wasn't simple. Grandpa's voice echoed in my head. The measure of a man isn't what he can take, it's what he chooses to give. I had the power to lock that gate, cut the water supply, make life really uncomfortable for the people who'd backed her. And every law in the state would have been on my side. Instead, I didn't. I stood in front of the crowd, holding the keys where every camera could see them, and said, I could shut you out. I could make you feel every inch of what you try to take from me. But real power isn't about punishment. It's about stewardship. My grandfather didn't teach me to own this land. He taught me to care for it, and for the people who depend on it. Then I proposed something nobody expected: a community trust. My land, my water rights, but managed together. Environmental protections. Shared decision-making. No one person, including me, could weaponize it again. And the shocker? Cordelia, fresh out on bail, mascara-streaked, stepped forward and said she wanted in. I can't undo what I did. But if you let me, I'll help make it right. 6 months later, she was making it right, running financial literacy workshops, organizing volunteer crews. The woman who'd once tried to throw me off my own lake had become its fiercest defender. Then came the 3 a.m. phone call. Barney's voice. Ezra, the luxury resort company's back. This time, they've got federal lawyers and eminent domain threats. Within half an hour, the community center was packed. The corporate attorney claimed our trust restricted interstate commerce and hurt regional economic growth. Translation, they wanted to bulldoze it for a resort. And that's when Cordelia, standing in front of the same people she'd once lied to, dropped the hammer. The corporation had offered her $500,000 in cash to betray us. She turned it down, in front of their lawyer, in front of a judge, in front of everyone. Judge Whitaker didn't even blink before tearing their case apart: conservation land protections, federal environmental statutes, senior water rights. They didn't just lose. They evaporated. The crowd erupted. But me? I just looked around at what we'd built: enemies turned allies, neighbors turned family, and thought, Grandpa, you were right. The sun was coming up over the lake by the time we walked out of that community center. Mist curling off the water. Voices laughing in the parking lot. Cordelia standing beside Barney, talking like old friends. I knew then that what we'd made would outlast all of us. Stronger than any title deed. Bigger than any court order. And I'll leave you with this: if someone tried to take your family's legacy, would you fight to keep it? Or would you fight to make it something bigger than yourself? Tell me in the comments. Because this right here isn't just about land. It's about who we choose to be when the power's in our hands.